Okay, so giving a real life example of like healing in lifetime, if that makes sense. Um, yeah, I decided to do that for you guys because I know a lot of the people that follow me are either trying to decide if you want to start healing, are healing, have been working on your healing journey. And I often say this: when you choose to heal, I think we go into it with a mindset that, okay, I'm going to heal. And in the back of our mind, we almost feel as if, okay, if we're going to go through these certain steps, we're going to get to a finish line and then it's going to be done and then we're going to be healed. Healing doesn't work like that at all. Um, at all, at all. But the words, as you get going, in my opinion, you'll start kind of getting tired of certain words that are used along the way. So, like the word for me, trigger, triggering, healing, journey, those kind of words, just like, oh, because I know what they mean. I know what they mean. They mean that there's been a growth spurt of some sort, trial, tribulation, learning lesson, something hard, something unpleasant, something uncomfortable, just fill in the blank with all those things. But I'm getting some work done. I've got to go pick up my kids in just a little bit from school. And yesterday was a little bit of a challenging day for me. And I had just this moment where I had to fight through a growth spurt. And it's really uncomfortable sometimes. So, you know, when you begin to understand and learn about yourself and you go through whether it's therapy, counseling, whatever, like any type of, maybe you've taken it into your own hands and you're starting to research for yourself or journal or whatever. Everybody has a different method or way in which they're doing it, whether it be due to financial restraints, financial opportunity, whatever, or just because you don't want to talk, whatever. Not a right or wrong answer, okay? Um, but what took place yesterday was there was this moment of quiet that I know doesn't work for me because I am really big on pattern recognition, really like hypersensitive, very attuned to pattern recognition. And because of pattern recognition, consistencies really matter everything to me. It is how my mind, my brain, my body work because that is how I see do words and actions align. So yesterday there was a hitch in the get up, if you will. And I kept having to remind myself throughout the day, this is not a you thing. So you've got to trust a process, feels uncomfortable. But by the end of the day, it was more than just uncomfortable. It just did not feel good. My stomach was hurting. Um, I felt in a funk. However, outwardly, so these are all internal thoughts, right, that are going through me. Um, Externally, though, I was cleaning the house, making meals for the kids, taking care of them. They were playing, getting us ready for Monday so that school and life and work and things are getting started. But it doesn't take away what you're feeling inside. So last night, slept very uneasy at one point. Didn't get to bed till about midnight, which is not super common for me anymore. It used to be, not anymore. I usually try to go to bed by 10. And but then I had some good sleep, but then when I woke up, I had a hard time going back to sleep. And then I woke up this morning, and again, externally, the kids see me taking a shower, getting ready, making their lunch, making their breakfast, getting them in the car, getting them to school in time, but internally still feeling unsettled. And the more that the time was expanding, if you will, the more that the hours were going by with the silence, um, just made me feel uncomfortable. It makes me, goes back to this, like, they talk about childhood wounds. I am learning that part of it more so the latter part of this year than anything. When people would talk about, like, I talked to my little girl or my little boy self, blah, blah, blah. I was like, what the hell is all that? Um, I'm starting to understand it. It's a concept that I'm starting to comprehend much better than I did even earlier this year and years prior. So, in the thought process of it all, I had dropped the boys off at school and I had to go run and grab some things for Christmas that I needed to get. And in driving and thinking about things, I realized, there's this, why do I feel so dysregulated? Quite honestly, why am I concerned? Like, I knew where we had left something off. So, me and someone else, like, I know where we left off just a couple days ago. Um, so, no fight, no nothing wrong. Like, everything is okay. Life is being life, but nothing between us is bad. But then the silence, right? And then I realized a combination of, I know that I have abandonment issues. When I am talking or dating someone, or just even the people that are closely involved with me, tend to be a pretty open book about that. I tend to share very transparently that I have abandonment issues from when I was very young. Some people are understanding of that, and some people are not. That's okay. But for the most part, I would say majority of the people within my circle, within my life, now, who I have had the last several years, um, have been very understanding. When you understand that you have abandonment issues, communication matters all the more, even if it's in the form, I often say, in the form of like a smoke signal. So even if it's like a dot or an emoji or something, just so I know, like, hey, maybe you're going through something, but it's not a we thing. We're safe, we're okay. And I wasn't getting that. And so just felt really unpleasant, to say the least. And so, it's this fine line of, okay, do you allow space? But then you also have to be true to yourself. And my truth is, just want to check in, make sure everything's fine. But before I checked in to make sure that this person was okay, which they are, um, I realized something that I'm going to need to work through. Okay. So it's not like you don't get to just call it for, oh, here it is, and then it's done. Now that I've brought it to the surface to acknowledge what I'm about to share with you guys, now I'm going to choose that to be something that I really need to start working on this week and next week, and however long it's going to take to process through it. But what I realized, why the silence is making me feel so uncomfortable, is because in my close circle, I'm an open book in many social media platforms in many different ways, but then there's these other areas of my life where I'm very private and I don't talk about them. Um, one of those being my love life. Yeah, one of them being my love life. Um, I don't tend to talk about it a whole lot. I don't tend to post about it a whole lot. And dating as a 43-year-old mom with 5 kids, 3 that are out of the nest, 2 that are with me half the time, 3 that have just lost their dad, the older ones recently. They're trying to find their new normal, me trying to find my new normal, and what that all looks like, what it looks like, what it means, what it feels like, all of these different things. And then you got the boys that are in a co-parenting situation half the time, and them learning and growing and doing all these different things too. It's like just a lot of spinning plates of a lot of different moving stuff. And then you're supposed to find room for yourself. You're supposed to work. You're supposed to have self-care. You're supposed to heal. You're supposed to be productive. You're supposed to thrive. You're supposed to produce. You're supposed to, like, all of these things. It's a lot. But what I was able to boil it down to was this. When I was much younger, um, a combination of 2 things. So my stepdad passed away when I was really young. He died of cancer. I didn't have the opportunity to say goodbye to him. He passed away the night that I had gone to my room to go to sleep. Prior to that, I was staying with him as much as I could. So I didn't get to say goodbye to my dad. And when I woke up, my dad was already gone. They had already taken him. It was really traumatic for me. It was really heavy for me. And yeah, all these years later, like I was, I think 8.5, I'm 43. All these years later, it's still something that I, in the back of my wiring, still struggle a lot with. So when people ghost or when they just cut off quickly, it really just, I don't want to say it does a number on me, but it really weighs heavy on me, and it really requires me to regulate in some different ways, that maybe other people don't necessarily have to regulate that way for that reason about. Um, on the outside, I pretend that I'm strong and invincible, but on the inside, that abandonment just like comes out to play. Because of that, I always understand, and that's why I have a lot of rules with people in my life. They could tell you I have these rules, whether romantic, professional, personal. Just I have these rules, and one of them is don't ghost. Like at the end of the day, if you don't want to be my friend anymore, you don't want to be around me anymore, you don't want to love me anymore, you don't want anything anymore around me, just tell me, communicate that to me. I'm a grown up and I can handle it. What I struggle with is when they don't and they go silent. So yesterday, I was having to remind myself nothing of what's taking place is saying that it's not there anymore, right? It's kind of your own narrative of your own past and your pains and your hurting points. So have my stepdad's trauma, if you will. Then I had, years forward, my mom was engaged. She was pregnant with my brother, with her fiance. And he passed away in a car accident. I was still very young. I think I was about 12 years old, maybe 13, when he passed away. But that was really traumatic too. So out of that, though, the trauma for me was there was something that was said to me by my mom. And again, her and I have talked about this over the years, okay? So it's not a bus slamming by any stretch of the imagination. But again, this is lifetime healing. This is where sometimes things get a little unpleasant because you might have like made amends with people close to you that you love, and they love you back, but then some of this comes out and there it is again. So, but something I used to, because I missed my stepdad. Again, I was 8.5 when he died, and then my mom's getting remarried, and like all of these different life changes, right? And I was so young, I didn't understand my mom going and making her life again. So I just assumed she's trying to make a new life. And where am I going to fall? Am I going to fall out of the loop? Am I going to, all these things? You're a damn kid, whatever. But what she had said to me one night is, and I was sleeping, she came into the room and she got really upset with me. My grandma ended up just trying to calm her down. Again, she was just really overwhelmed. She was pregnant. She had lost her fiance tragically, right? And all the things that come with the heavy burden of that. However, what was said to me was, see what happens when you wish people dead. It happens. Nobody has died in the situation of the last 24 to 30 hours with regards to what's taking place for me, right? But what I realized was something that I have been carrying, and I've been journaling through it earlier this year, but I touched on it, told myself I needed to work through it, and I never did. And then I realized now, this morning, hey, you said you were going to do that, and you didn't do that. You need to visit that. I don't want to say I feel like I'm cursed, but I certainly have this fear that I live with, very realistic to me, is that when good things happen for me or to me, the other shoe is going to drop. And so if I talk about them too much, or if I get excited about something or happy about something, it's going to be ripped from underneath me and taken away from me. I know that might sound drastic to some people, but if you have that, you will fully feel right now heard, understood. And so that is what I think the last 24 hours have done for me, a little bit longer than 24 hours, is it made me feel as if, oh God, I've been telling people like about this positive thing in my life, this positive person in my life that I'm happy about and that things are going well. And now because I spoke about it too much, I'm making it happen where it's going away. It's being taken away. That's not easy. It's not a pleasant way to live your life, I can tell you that, because so many areas of my life, I've had really great achievements and really great successes. But because of that part of me, I have lived now 30 years in essence, right? Always downplaying the good things that happen in my life, the wins in my life, the accomplishments in my life, my goals in my life. relationships in my life. Hearing myself process that this morning was a lot to take in, right? And so what I did was I lit my candle, came home to get my work done because I can work from the computer for the rest of the day until I get the boys. So lit up my Christmas tree candle because the smell of Christmas trees or eucalyptus and mint always make me just feel grounded and centered. I have my iced coffee and my hydro jug so that it stays cold with ice. I've got my comfy clothes on. I've got my love blanket. The kids and I love this blanket. It's been through a lot of things with us. And I got my work done. But I still understand that I need to block some time each day this week to start really chipping away at that. And then I need to figure out, what do I need to do in order to work through it? I don't know if that's going to require a counselor. I don't know if that's going to require journaling. I don't know if it's going to require going on a walk. I don't know if it's going to require a conversation with the person that I didn't talk to for a little bit, for a day, because I think it's important that they know. It means I care about them, right? Like, it means I care. It means I care about them. It means I care about what we have. It means it's a good thing. It's just understanding it and then giving it a true place for it to belong. And something I committed to this person was that I was just always going to be honest, and I wanted them to be honest too. So part of the honesty is this part of the honesty, right? But yeah, that's what's going on. And, again, all these years later, my mom and I, we've talked about it. We've talked about that hurtful thing she said. But now today I realize, like, I know we've talked about it. I know we moved beyond it, us, but clearly my brain and my body have not moved on, and my wiring has not moved on, because I am living so much of my life scared that everything is always going to be taken away. And if I'm going to be living my life, truly living my life, happy and joyously and peace and calm and stability and all of these things, I'm going to need to address that, right? From an outside perspective, that little girl part, I feel really bad for her. I feel bad that she's had to carry those things for all these years. As an adult, I feel sad for myself that it still is something that holds such a large part of me back on. Sad about that. Currently, I'm dissociated from it, so that's why I'm not crying, because I think if I wasn't dissociated from it the moment I started acknowledging that this morning, I saw myself dissociate from it, I'll end up having to plow in and get back into my skin about it. But today and right now is not going to be the time. So I don't have the boys from Wednesday morning on. More than likely, that's when I will allow myself to start feeling through what I need to feel through. I try not to do those things when I have the boys because our time is limited. So yeah, there you go. I am sharing in hopes to inspire you to continue living your authentic self, exploring your authentic self. Feel not alone. Maybe it's inspiring to you. Maybe this will help you gain the courage, or maybe gain the wisdom of, how do I even begin the process? What does it look like? Does it look messy, disorganized, whatever, or just a random person talking? Sometimes maybe recording yourself. I have found over the last 4.5 years, I do these videos from time to time for myself to help me understand my thought process, so that I can record myself so my thoughts come out the way I need to, almost as if you're talking to a friend. And then that way I go back and I listen so I can hear myself, to then have a better understanding of what it was that I was sharing. So then I can process and do what I need to do through it. So maybe that will help you too. But I see you. I love you. You matter to me. And with that, I will talk to you soon.